When they opened the Mall of America, they decided to open an entire theme park in there that was called Camp Snoopy. Have you guys heard of the Mall of America? I don't think it technically is the biggest mall in the country anymore, but it is enormous. It's ridiculous. There still is a theme park there, and we'll talk about it, but Camp Snoopy was such a big part of this mall that when they broke ground at the mall, Snoopy himself was there. This was on June 14th, 1989, and then the park opened with this kind of sneak preview, which was on August 11th, 1992. It was called Knott's Camp Snoopy, and it was a sneak preview. You had to pay $75 to go to it. That's Charles Schulz, the creator of Snoopy. He showed up, and he was there unannounced. So he showed up. It was a black tie event, which is why he has a tuxedo on. Everybody was sipping champagne, and they said he showed up and no one recognized him or anything. So he just went around, he looked at everything. A member from the press got some quotes from him, but they said he just seemed like a quiet, nice man there by himself, checking out the park. He really liked some of the larger Snoopy items there. Of course, they took a picture with him. Also, for their opening day, they hired a bunch of impersonators, which I thought was pretty neat. They had an Elvis impersonator, Dolly Parton, Cher, John Wayne, Indiana Jones, and then Lily Tomlin, which I think is like just I don't know. I guess they're on the phone with the guy. He's like, I also have Lily Tomlin. And they're like, well, it is 1992. That sounds like a great way to go. They had a bounce house right in the middle, big giant Snoopy bounce house, 45 feet tall. One of the things to remember about this, 1992 bounce house, really big deal, kind of a new thing. The whole place kind of had this overall woods theme. It really wasn't heavily Snoopy themed, but it was Snoopy themed throughout, just kind of a light theming. But this is a postcard, shows 4 of the attractions. They had Truckin', which today, this theme park is now Nickelodeon Universe. I'm going to show you the Nickelodeon version of some of these attractions. Truckin' is just called Big Rigs today. The second one there that you can see, that's the train, and that was called the Bloomington Express. Again, not a very highly themed. Today it is called, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but La Adventure de Azul, and I'm going to show you what it looks like today. Here it is. There's the blue train, so they've kind of redone the look of the train. You also have the Red Baron ride, which was replaced with a ride called Blue Skidoo. And the last one they had was the Camp Bus, which opened in 1992, and now it's a Diego-themed attraction. So it's Diego's bus now. But the entire park cost $70 million. So this was, and it's pretty big considering it's indoor. They said that they had the mall itself is the size of Walt Disney World, 78 acres of space. And so it was very nice. Tickets were interesting. You would buy your tickets for the rides. So you would buy tickets for individual rides. Here is the log flume ride. Now this is still there today, and it's exactly the same way as it was then, because there was no Snoopy element to this. So when it was Camp Snoopy, this ride was exactly the same. They haven't rethemed it, and this ride is amazing. So it's this log flume ride, and you go up and they have an animatronic Paul Bunyan. And I cannot do enough to tell you how big this thing is. It was so big. Like, I rode this ride and saw it, and he is so much bigger than I expected. Like, I read, oh, he's enormous. And I got through, and he was absolutely beyond enormous. Now, this mall, they had a restaurant there for a while. It was in their food court, which was Hulk Hogan's Pasta Mania. Hulk Hogan's Pasta Mania opened in 1995, didn't last very long, but for a while you could go there and get Hulk Hogan's pasta. And so this Paul Bunyan, every year at Halloween, he gets a different costume. And a few years back, they dressed him as Pasta Mania Hulk Hogan. This was the Snoopy fountain. It was a fountain that had cannons that would shoot water, so you could aim them and, hit all the different targets. You probably saw the tree swing. And the tree swing is based on a concept I'm glad I'm so excited. The tree swing is based on the kite-eating tree, which is there are 12 major set pieces from in the Snoopy comics. Charles Schulz always figured he had 12 different major ideas. One of them was Charlie Brown on the Mound, and one of them was the kite-eating tree, and then there were Lucy's psychiatric booth. You had Schroeder's piano. These were all the different set pieces that he would do different things with. And so the kite-eating tree was one, and so this attraction based on the kite-eating tree. Next up, the Ripsaw roller coaster went through about half the park. There also was a giant Snoopy dog dish that was like a fountain, which I think is one of the cooler things at the park.
Hey, just wanted to cut in here. I'm in my hotel room. This is where the Thunder play. I looked up that dog dish, and somebody put it on offer up several years ago. So it still exists, or at least did then, and somebody paid $1,200 for it.
This was the Joe Cool Driving School. I guess these are supposed to be little cars. They have like little headlights on them. But I mean, it's not driving school. It's a Dumbo spinner. I don't know who thought this one through. Here's an attraction. It's called the Timberland Twister. It's now called the Fairly Odd Coaster, which I think is a better title. But here's a look at that. This is actually a look of it today. And here's a look at it when it was Camp Snoopy's Timberland Twister. Here's an attraction, Ghost Blasters. This opened in 1999. This was kind of like the Buzz Lightyear attraction. You would ride through and shoot ghosts, which is pretty cool. You'd have these laser guns, and you'd shoot it. And they had a song called the Mighty Boossifer. It's like Lucifer, but boo. Here is the Screaming Yellow Eagle. Today it is the Danny Phantom Ghost Zone. Actually, it was the Danny Phantom Ghost Zone, and I think now it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ride. So they've changed it a couple times. They have a big Ferris wheel there called the Skyscraper. It just used to have Snoopy as Joe Cool on it. The Mall of America is fascinating, though. It opened 1992, and they had built it where they had originally had the baseball stadium. So they had this interesting thing. You could see the home plate from the Minnesota Twins baseball stadium, and then up on the wall in the theme park, and this is still there is a seat from where this incredibly long home run had been hit. So this was Harmon Killebrew had hit this home run in 1967, and that was the seat it hit. And so when they built the mall, they put the seat in the exact spot. They measured to where exactly it would have been, if you trust them. I don't know, but they say that's where it was in the Metrodome. Yeah, I think that's I think a good guess. January 2006, Mall of America is working with Cedar Fair, who licenses the Peanuts characters, and they said, we can't come to an agreement. We don't, this isn't going to work out. And so they decide they're going to pull out the Peanuts characters altogether. They end up replacing it with, temporarily it's just called the Park at Mall of America, but then eventually they replace it with this Nickelodeon universe. Just going to show you a couple other things that they had there. They had the Mystery Mine, which is a name for their interactive 3D theaters. This is one of those ones where you sit in the chair and the chair goes like this as you're riding around. And the actual movie that they showed there was pretty cool. It originally had shown at Universal Studios. This cost $13 million to produce. It was called The Funtastic World of Hanna-Barbera. This was an opening day attraction at Universal, and they moved it over there where it was called Yogi's Big Rescue. So they retitled it, so people didn't know it was the exact same thing, but it was there. It was the final attraction that played in that theater before the theater switched over to being no longer affiliated with the Peanuts characters. So that's kind of a neat bit of trivia, that the Hanna-Barbera Yogi Bear, Fred Flintstone Jetsons movie was the last thing that played in the Peanuts Mystery Mine Theater. Camp Snoopy, just as a final note, was also the name of the Doha International Air Base in Qatar. And the soldiers liked Snoopy, and so they decided to call it Camp Snoopy. And so they have patches and everything that say Camp Snoopy.
Well, there you have it, a little bit of the story of Camp Snoopy. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. I hope it didn't put you to sleep, unless you're one of those people that watches my videos at the end of the night to go to sleep. And so if you do, I hope it puts you to sleep. If you enjoyed this one, please think about hitting that thumbs up button. And I got another video that's going to pop up right over here. I think you'll like it if you're into cartoons. I did a video all about the new Garfield movie and all the crazy promotion they did for it. Otherwise, YouTube says this one is best for you. And if you need more content, there's a second channel and you can click on it right there. And I'll see you next time.